Well, it's a very exciting time in my studio because the massive crucifixion scene, as you can see, is almost done. I was just thinking about the experience about creating this 30-foot Mount Calvary scene, and it was just unbelievable. So I usually wake up at before 4 o'clock. I'll grab a coffee. I'll come over to my studio here. I'll start by listening to some classical music, and then an hour or so of that, then I'll put on my tapes of the Bible. And this is what I've been doing throughout the whole project, unabridged tapes of the New Testament, specifically the New Testament. And I have them on repeat, and so this, as I'm sculpting, is being repeated in my mind, in my heart, and inevitably it comes down to my hands. One of the things that I love about this is the size and the gesture and the feeling about the Christ figure. As you can see, he's very big, very bold within the composition. And as I was working on it, at one time I got his face just perfect. And I didn't want to touch it. It was just half done at the time. But I didn't even want to put any more detail in because I thought, it could ruin that feeling, that attitude. A very noble representation of Jesus, very stoic, but beautiful as well. And so that really what set the scene for the sculpture is this graceful body of Christ with this head that is peaceful, compassionate, but also super strong. It's a strong representation of Christ. All these panels will be stitched together. You can see the two crosses of the thieves will hide that line, and so it'll just be one 30-foot sculpture. The first panel shows the scene of the gambling for the clothes. And what I love about this is there's that almost horrific representation, almost a macabre representation of these huddled figures with the dice being rolled, and to actually show kind of this sadistic element. These figures look evil. The dice that are rolled, believe it or not, they rolled 666 with their 3 dice. And I'm taking some liberty because I don't think the Roman soldier at that time would wear a helmet that would cover his face like that. Who cares? As soon as I put it on, I thought this looks haunting and it looks awesome. It's almost like you can see your focus on that figure is his scream, and his mouth is open. He's looking at the Christ figure as if he just kind of understood that this was the Christ. A lot of the Calvary scenes, a lot of the crucifixion scenes have one skull at the base of the cross. What I wanted to do was have it the mountain, the hill of bones, and the eeriness that creates. And so the second panel, you have the two thieves on either side turned in a way that brings your focal point to the Christ figure. At the base of those crosses, I wanted to hide where they actually were grounded. I realized that I could have two cherub-like angels, childlike angels at the base. And this kind of continues with the idea of putting children within the gospel gardens. And then what I also wanted to do is I wanted to have Mary as the third panel. And I wanted to give her a sense of importance within the piece. A lot of crucifixion scenes have her hugging the cross, but I wanted to have a special panel specifically for her. So as you can see on the third panel, in the center of it is her with surrounding figures supporting her. And what I love about her is, like the Jesus, she is in a very noble stance, and her expression is graceful, and it's not filled with horror at this point in time. It's like there's a resignation, or there's a peace within her face, and there's a strength within it. And her whole position, I really love, with her hands coming out. And it's almost like she's accepting it, but her hands are almost also trying to reach out towards the figure of her son. What I love about the sculpture too is the border, the temple curtain torn. And there you have the temple curtains kind of curving in. And when these pieces are put together, you'll have this very nice frame around the sculpture. When I'm working on this project, it really is a spiritual exercise for me. You have to get involved in the subject matter. You can't help but get involved in it. And this was basically the most intense part of this project so far. I gave it everything I possibly could each day that I was working on it. Things came together. Things showed themselves to me. I really didn't have very much of a clue how it would look, but I trusted if my spirit was in the right position, if I was in that right state, that something beautiful would come. And I am so happy with what I see right now. One element leads to another. The figures react to one another. I had these started rough clay, and I drew simple sketches on it, but I had no idea that it would look like this.